Hello everyone, welcome back to Wartime History. As mentioned in the update video, I will be making a build and review on Hobby Boss's IAR 80. I plan on making future videos fully recorded, but for this kit I only have photos. I do apologize for this. The kit is Hobby Boss's IAR 80 in 1/48 scale. It is a relatively new kit, only being released in 2016. The box art is very good in my opinion, and upon opening the box, I was pleasantly surprised on how well the sprues were protected. In fact, the sprue with the small engine parts even had a piece of protective wrapping around it. While the instructions were black and white, the kit also included a full-color paint guide with 2 possible paint schemes. It also included a few small photo-etched pieces, being used in the cockpit seat. Despite not being seen, due to their location, photo-etched parts are always great to have included. I began by assembling the interior of the cockpit, and the details are certainly good for its scale. It went together without any problems. You can see 2 of the photo-etched seatbelts in the seat. We now come to my first mistake with the kit. You may notice that I painted on the gauges in the cockpit. I'm personally really bad at small-scale painting and it didn't come out great. However, since you have to be really close to see the gauges, it's not that big of a problem in my opinion. My paint job wasn't a mistake, however. The fact that the kit included decals that I didn't notice until the end was. Honestly, I know decals with decal solution would have looked much better than my paint job, but I noticed too late for it to be placed in there without considerable effort. I then built the engine and attached the fuselage together. The fit was very good, though it did take a few tries to get it into the proper position. The front and rear wings then came on along with the engine cowling. I also taped off the clear pieces and left the canopy off for painting. With the majority of the aircraft assembled, I began working on the underside. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture of this. I then continued to mask off the underside to give the model a dark green base coat. I also painted the canopy at this point. After leaving it to dry overnight, I masked off the areas for a second coat of paint. I then applied a coat of XF52 flat earth. The worst mistake I made on this model involved the yellow stripe at the rear of the aircraft. By the way, does anybody know if this has an official name? Because calling it rear yellow stripe sort of seems wrong. Let me know down below if you know what it's called. Anyway, getting back to the model, I actually messed up one of the sides really badly, and had to get my modeling knife to completely take off the paint to redo it. With the major painting to the fuselage done, it was finally time to put on the propeller and landing gear. After which, I began applying the decals. While 2 of the decals are problematic, the rest were quite good. I'll get back to this later on, however. Following all the decals being added to the model, I began to weather it. And I do think I went a little overboard with the exposed metal, but I think it came out looking good regardless. I then gave the aircraft a light coat of XF57 buff to simulate operations from the non-paved airports of the Soviet Union. A semi-gloss coat was applied to seal in the decals and the model was finished. Personally, I really enjoyed this kit. From the expert packaging to the fact that not a single part had any flashing, it was truly a great kit. Also, despite the level of detail this kit offered, it was still really easy to put together. There was no part where I felt overwhelmed. My only problem with this kit was those decals I mentioned earlier. The ones I'm talking about were the 2 rear decals for the IAR 80's rudder. Aside from the fact that both of them broke just sitting there in the water, a raised piece on the rudder meant that their application was quite difficult. In fact, if you don't have any decal solution, I don't recommend you use these decals. I recommend you just take the rudder and paint it on yourself. All in all, I'd recommend this model kit to people of all skill levels. It is well priced as well as an easy and rewarding build. While I recommend beginners leave the photo-etched parts off the kit due to them being difficult to work with, their location results in very little loss from the final product. Overall, I'd have to give this kit a 9 out of 10, with my only grievance being the rudder decals. However, this kit was truly a joy to build, and I look forward to future kits by Hobby Boss. Did you enjoy the video? If you did, please let me know down below how you think it came out and any recommendation you may have for me for future kits. Please like the video as well and don't forget to subscribe.